Mr. President, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
This latest idea floated by the Secretary of State, John Kerry, picked up by the Russians, is it possible this could avert a U.S. military strike on Syria?
It's possible if it's real. And, I think it's certainly a positive development when the Russians and the Syrians both make gestures towards dealing with these chemical weapons. This is what we've been asking for, not just over the last week or the last month, but for the last couple of years, because these chemical weapons pose a significant threat to all nations and to the United States in particular. That's why 98% of humanity has said we don't use these. That protects our troops, and it protects children like the ones that we saw in those videos inside of Syria. So it is a potentially positive development. I have to say that it's unlikely that we would have arrived at that point where there were even public statements like that without a credible military threat to deal with the chemical weapons used inside of Syria. But we're going to run this to ground. And John Kerry and the rest of my national security team will engage with the Russians and the international community to see, can we arrive at something that is enforceable and serious. One reason that this may have a chance of success is that even Syria's allies like Iran detest chemical weapons. Iran, unfortunately was the target of chemical weapons at the hands of Saddam Hussein back during the Iraq-Iran war. And so we may be able to arrive at a consensus in which it doesn't solve the underlying problems of a civil war in Syria, but it does solve the problem that I'm trying to focus on right now, which is making sure that you don't have over 400 children gassed indiscriminately by these chemical weapons.
Because Ban Ki-moon, the UN Secretary General, says not only control the stockpiles of chemical weapons, but then go ahead and destroy them. He's ready to take that to the UN Security Council. That's a lot better than deterring the Syrians from going ahead and using these chemical weapons.
Absolutely, and that's why we're going to take this seriously. But I have to consistently point out that we have not seen these kinds of gestures up until now, and in part, the fact that the U.S. administration and I have said we are serious about this, I think has prompted some interesting conversations. And these are conversations that I've had directly with Mr. Putin. When I was at the G20, we had some time to discuss this, and I believe that Mr. Putin does not see the use of chemical weapons as a good thing inside of Syria or any place else. And so it's possible that we can get a breakthrough, but it's going to have to be followed up on, and we don't want just a stalling or delaying tactic to put off the pressure that we have on there right now. We have to maintain this pressure, which is why I'll still be speaking to the nation tomorrow about why I think this is so important.